J Maxwell. Welcome back to my channel. This is J Max Reacts. Tonight I'm watching the BFTV documentary on the bad boy curse. It says the shady side of Diddy's billion-dollar empire. Shout out to Mikey who asked me to watch this a while ago. We're gonna watch it now. Let's see what happens or what they have to say. What happened there? Oh, wait, okay.
There was a time in history when Sean Diddy Combs and Bad Boy Records dominated not only the rap world, but the music industry as a whole. From the mid-90s to early 2000s, Diddy's proteges were taking radio stations, nightclubs, and music channels by storm with their back-to-back hits and flashy music videos. And they played a major role in trailblazing Black pop culture. Diddy, formerly known as Puff Daddy, has since become a world-famous record executive and businessman with a multi-million-dollar media empire that includes clothing lines, restaurants, alcohol, and a media company. Diddy has also been the face of the hashtag Black Excellence movement, advocating for the success of Black entrepreneurs and artists. But like most capitalists and wealthy moguls running the Black Excellence movement, Diddy has been accused of exploiting people who worked under him. I've already told you guys the story about Khalees and her allegations about Pharrell and Chad Hugo keeping all of the profits from her first 2 albums. For years, Bad Boy's most high-profile artists and proteges have aired out their grievances with the music mogul, alleging they had traumatic experiences with Bad Boy. Diddy has also been accused of stealing royalties and harsh treatment of his artists once the honeymoon phase is over. Did Diddy accumulate all of his wealth and success by exploiting his artists? And is his Black Excellence campaign all a facade? It's currently Black Music Month, so I thought I'd share this one with you guys. This rabbit hole is deep, so please get ready to dive in. From federal lawsuits and allegations of fraud to poor business practices and humiliation, this is the Bad Boy Entertainment curse, the shady side of Diddy's empire.
Don't have to worry about the executive producer trying to be all in the video, all on the record, dancing. Come to Jeff Ross.
Like, you know, the Bad Boy curse.
Okay, so then the fateful night Biggie was killed. At the height of his career.
Yes.
Do you ever feel responsible in any way? In any way?
Obviously, he was the uber star, and I was just up and coming. So, you know, yeah, it's going to be a show. But he used that to just, you know, just throw me off. Like, you know, it was just terrible, man. But I'm facing 25 years. And you looking at probation. Yeah, those are the things that, you understand, are unacceptable. You don't have to hold my hand. You don't have to do nothing, but don't try to hurt me.
Man, you're a coward. Don't take nothing. You're a thief. You're a coward. Don't say you're a thief. Okay. You're a thief. Office, man. You had a bunch of artists whose careers never went right with you, dog. Be for real, dog. Look at the list. Look at the list. You don't want to be violent. You the artist that did the best for yourself. Look at your list, dog. You on MTV, VH1, $1 Million Parties, Sean John, Justin, this and that. In the door I advanced was between the three of us was like 100 G's. And you charge us $3 million to let go. And you got our publishing for half of 10 years now. And we've been trying to, we've been quiet. You know, people be like, y'all wild. And y'all
but behind the scenes, you've been dealing with this for a long time?
Our 7th lawyer.
Sean John Combs, also known as Diddy, got his start in music as an intern at Andre Harrell's New York City-based record label, Uptown Records. He was born in Harlem, New York in 1969, and at the age of 3, he relocated to the suburb of Mount Vernon after the death of his father. Andre Harrell became Diddy's mentor and taught him the ins and outs of the music industry.
You know, he's not intimidated by you know what I'm saying? He knows the importance of leaving a legacy behind. Because we need more adults out there that's going to teach the young, such as myself. And, you know, basically leave a legacy behind. Leave something behind, you know.
Diddy quickly became an A&R executive and talent director for Uptown. helping develop Jodeci, Mary J. Blige, and other new artists at the label who would help shape the sound of 90s hip-hop and R&B. He had been at the label for 2 years when he came across a Source magazine feature and demo tape by an unsigned rapper named Biggie Smalls. He arranged to meet with the up-and-coming artist and immediately signed him to the label. However, MCA Records, the label's distributor, didn't want to release Biggie's debut album because of its explicit lyrical content pertaining to street life. Shortly after, in 1993, Andre fired Diddy from Uptown reportedly due to his ego and cocky attitude. Diddy, who went by Puff Daddy at the time, promptly launched his own label, Bad Boy Entertainment, as a joint venture for Arista Records. The deal allowed him full creative control of his label. Puff took his friend, the notorious B.I.G, with him, signed him as the first artist at the label, and the rest was history.
Not the curse Jesus.
Puff helped Biggie produce his debut album, and during the process, the guys became really good friends. Puff is partially responsible for making the 21-year-old rapper the most visible hip-hop artist to come out of the New York rap scene. The second signee of Bad Boy was rapper Craig Mack, and his 1994 debut single, Flavor in Your Ear, became the label's first release. The notorious B.I.G. dropped his autobiographical debut album, Ready to Die, on September 13th, 1994, and it had sold over 500,000 copies in the United States by the end of the year. The album's 3 singles, Juicy, Big Papa, and One More Chance, were major hits in the United States, and Bad Boy Entertainment was now on the map.
Birthdays was the worst days. Now we sip champagne when we thirsty.
In 1995, Billboard magazine named Bad Boy the #1 rap label of the year. Diddy was focusing most of his attention on Biggie's career after Craig's debut album. So Diddy put all of Craig Mack's music on the back burner, and Craig ended up leaving the label that year.
No question. Yes, baby, yeah. Cool, that's cool, and I'm sure you got much things in store for my man. Yeah, definitely. We got a new album we're working on him to drop in January. Besides that, we about to just drop our R&B stuff.
The Puff Daddy album.
Yeah, what about the Puff Daddy solo project?
Yeah, we don't like to talk about that.
Puff, you know what Jack is giving us that we're going to go.
Diddy, who often performed as a rapper, brought many other artists on board like Mace and 112. And both Faith Evans and girl group Total scored platinum albums in 1995. The label's rivalry with Death Row Records on the West Coast also helped bring publicity to Bad Boy. Diddy curated a team of writers and producers called the Hitmen that exclusively crafted remixes and hit songs for the label's artists. Team members included Stevie J and Nasheem Myrick. But tragedy struck in March 1997 when the label's most valuable artist, the notorious B.I.G., was killed in an infamous unsolved drive-by shooting in Los Angeles following an after-party for the 1997 Soul Train Music Awards. He was only 24 years old and just a few weeks away from releasing his second album, eerily entitled Life After Death. His former friend turned rival, Tupac, had also been killed in a similar manner a few months prior, and people speculated that their deaths were related, but authorities found no evidence to confirm this theory. Diddy, who was traveling in another vehicle with 3 bodyguards at the time of the crime, has also been the subject of other conspiracy theories, claiming that he was the one who orchestrated the attack on his artist. This theory has also never been proven. But Diddy admits that he feels responsible for Biggie Smalls' death.
Do you ever feel responsible in any way? In any way?
I mean, the thing that I think I always feel some sort of, responsibility because I'm in this thing with him. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. He's my artist, and he was supposed to go to London that night, and I let him talk me into not going to London and staying in LA. And that, that's something that really bothered me, throughout my life, is sometimes you have to really go with that decision in your gut. And in my gut, I was like, you need to get on the plane
But sometimes when you don't listen to your gut, you know, and this is God's world, you know, it's his plan.
Yeah.
But you know, honestly, like, you know, that's one of the things I regret, not making sure that he went to London.
There has also been rumors that Biggie became unhappy with his contract with Diddy and was already on his way out the door at the time of his passing.
I've heard that before.
In 1997, Lil C's claimed that Diddy purchased the late rapper's publishing for $200,000 before his death and claimed that Biggie was broke despite his smash hits. But Biggie's death boosted Bad Boy Entertainment significantly. Life After Death was critically acclaimed and received a massive amount of commercial success. It was nominated for Best Rap Album, Best Rap Solo Performance for its first single, Hypnotize, and Best Rap Performance by a Duo or Group for its second single, More Money, More Problems, at the 1998 Grammy Awards.
Biggie, 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 can't you see? Sometimes your words just hypnotize me.
DEA, federal agents mad cause I played with Tap myself and the phone.
Both singles topped the Billboard Hot 100. The album also boosted the careers of New York-based artists featured on it, like Jay-Z, Lil' Kim, The Lox, and Mace, who became the new superstar of Bad Boy. But we will discuss him later. Diddy and artists at the label really benefited from the posthumous releases and tribute songs. In the years that followed, Bad Boy had become the biggest hip-hop entertainment group, producing hits and remixes for elite artists like Mariah Carey and Mary J. Blige. Forbes reported in 1999 that the label was raking in over $130 million in annual sales, making it rap's most valuable label. Diddy was also dabbling in other business ventures like restaurants, a clothing company, and sports management. His own solo album, No Way Out, released in 1997, topped Billboard and has since been certified 7 times platinum. Although Bad Boy Entertainment had completely taken over the last half of the 90s decade, a lot of the artists fell victim to the so-called curse. Their momentum and star power fizzled out after their first albums, and some of them barely even lasted at Bad Boy for more than 2 albums. Diddy seems like he just bounced around to whatever artist was hot at the time, instead of focusing on the longevity of each individual music act. And by the time the new decade came, most of the label's original music acts were gone. Hip-hop trio The Lox had one of the first known falling outs with Bad Boy Entertainment. Mary J. Blige had first heard their demo tape and passed it along to Diddy, who then in turn signed the Yonkers-based group. They gained mainstream popularity after being featured on Diddy's hit song, It's All About the Benjamins.
What y'all wanna do? Wanna be ballers, shot callers, brawlers.
When I was young, I want the phone up, but now I only hit chicks who wear beauty patches, tricking.
Jadakiss of the trio was also the one who penned Diddy's iconic verse on the song. They even appeared on Mariah Carey's 1997 #1 single, Honey, the very song that made her break into the hip-hop and R&B music scene. However, their 1998 album, Money, Power, and Respect, and its singles didn't get much commercial success, and the trio grew increasingly disappointed with the direction Diddy was going in for Bad Boy. Diddy strayed further and further away from hardcore street music after the death of Biggie and opted for a more safe mainstream sound to appease to the masses, which ensured radio hits. So the Lox began looking for another label that would best fit their vibe. They started appearing on a number of tracks by Rough Riders, the label associated with fellow Yonkers native DMX. But Diddy refused to let them out of their contract. That's when the group kicked off the Free the Lox campaign, demanding for their release. They showed up to Hot 97 Summer Jam concert in 1999, wearing t-shirts that read, Let the Lox Go. After things escalated and furniture was thrown at Diddy, he finally severed ties with the Lox, and they immediately signed a deal with Rough Riders, where they remained for over a decade. Diddy said, the Lox situation just didn't work out. That's nothing new to any record company. Hopefully the press won't try to dramatize that. Any record label and you have 20 acts, 1, 2, 3 of the acts aren't going to be happy, and it may be a situation that you can work out. We tried to work the situation out.
How?
It didn't work out. So we're in the process of selling them right now. And they are still, to me, some of the hottest rappers out. I wish them the best of luck. I'm sorry it didn't work out.
Anyway.
End quote.
It's hard for me to look at Diddy. It's hard for me to, it's hard to go, like, to be phony about it and pull them out on stage at the Hova concert and do the Benjamins, and it's hard, like, it's not.
Have you talked to him about?
Millions of dollars. This is my life. It's worth dying. It's worth killing over. Like, serious. No, don't say, Jada, you bugging. Or I can't sleep sometimes. Like, I lose sleep. Like, I be ready to just black out. Like,
how long have you been? Have you had the conversations with Puff about trying to buy it back?
He's so much of a gangster with the paperwork. He'll tell you one thing, and then he'll tell his lawyer or people that represents him something else.
And then it never happened. And this is amazing. I mean,
and you've been trying to do this for years?
For years, man. We on our, you know, we've been quiet and all that. We on our 7th or 8th lawyer for this.
No security guard could stop.
How much money are we talking? How much money are we talking?
Office.
We talking
no security.
I couldn't even tell you.
He said
a couple mil.
A couple million?
I would say a couple mil.
Damn.
I can't even say. I'm not even sure.
We paid a couple mil to get out. We paid almost $3 million to get out.
To get off Bad Boy.
Yeah, we had no $1 million budget. We did one album, man.
This is for life.
This is for life, too. This is why.
So for the rest of your life, if you make a song, you have the way it stands, he gets money no matter what?
If we make a Give It To Me or in the club, he's gonna make more off that than we are.
But yo, dog, we made one album with you. Years ago, we came in the game. We paid $3 million to get off. Close to $3 million.
I gotta pay him $300,000.
You made, Lord knows what you made off the Benjamins.
Every time I put out a solo album, he gotta get an advance of $300,000.
What kind of?
That's crazy. That's
How do you
what the
get
people don't see. Like, and to me, it's like, yo, come on, dog. You on MTV, VH1, $1 million parties, Sean John, Justin's, this and that. We did one album with you, dog. You Benjamins, Lord, no way out from the Benjamins, so something crazy. You made something crazy. You made your money back over that. And when we came in the door, our advance was between the three of us was like 100 G's. And you charged us $3 million and let go. And you had our publishing for half for 10 years now. And we've been trying to, we've been quiet. Wow. You know, people be like, y'all wild. And y'all
but behind the scenes, you've been dealing with this for a long time?
We're on our 7th lawyer.
Ridiculous.
What's up?
I mean,
check this out, man. The last time y'all did this, man, y'all did the whole campaign, let the locks go and all that. Y'all ain't want to be down with Bad Boy, so we let y'all go. Y'all want to be down with us, we let y'all go, we keep it moving. But to get on there and portray like somebody got to go and steal and rob and be shysting y'all, that ain't really correct, you know what I'm saying? All that go in the refrigerator, you going to kill, y'all ain't killing nobody, man. You know what I'm saying? We businessmen. We all mature adults here, all that right there. But don't sit here and portray like Puff took nothing from y'all.
What is it? What is it? What do you call it? What do you call it? What do you call it? You can't handle it no other way but with lawyers, and you know that, so don't get on the radio and act like a tough guy or none of that.
You know how we can settle?
You acting tough.
So why don't we stop talking on the radio?
No, you want people to stop talking because you just don't want to know the truth, dog. We made one record with you. Money, Power, Respect. It's 10 years later, and you still got half of our publishing. Now, there's no way you can make it justifiable that you said you deserve half of our publishing.
You're a coward.
You're a thief, Bob.
Coward.
Don't say you're a thief.
Okay.
You're a thief.
Office, man.
You had your ace doing Cool's publishing. You won't let his publishing go.
I'm at the office.
You don't let your man's publishing go.
You argue in front of New York. That's the way you
do. You own your man's publishing, dog?
Man.
You had a bunch of artists whose careers never went right with you, dog. Be for real, dog. Look at the list. Look at your list.
You don't want to be violent.
You the artist that did the best for yourself. Look at your list, dog. No, Maxwell not happy with you gone. Faith not happy with you gone. We not happy with you gone. Faith not happy with you gone.
Wow. All right, he's hung up. He's gone.
Shine jail.
man.
But it is worth it. He don't understand that because you just been robbing people for years. And people can look at it, and you can look at what he said, then you look at us, and you look at his catalog of artists he had. And you sit back and do the homework yourself. You go home, forget what we said, forget we the streets, we the locks. This man is making tons of money off of us for no apparent reason. No reason at all.
Okay,
I can't wait to sit down and talk.
By the 2000s, at least 5 of Bad Boy's most popular artists had left the label. But it didn't matter to Diddy, because Bad Boy released even bigger hits at the beginning of the new decade. And the roster of artists just continued to grow. Bad Boy was worth over $300 million by this time. In 2002, he became the sole owner of the label when he bought back 50% stake in Bad Boy that Arista and BMG had owned. But legal issues from the 90s followed Diddy into the new millennium. On December 27th, 1999, Diddy, his then girlfriend Jennifer Lopez, his bodyguard, and his protege, rapper Shine, were all involved in a highly publicized shooting incident at a club in New York. Diddy was facing up to 15 years for charges of gun possession and bribery for allegedly trying to bribe his driver into taking the charge. But in 2001, he and his bodyguard were acquitted on all charges. His protege, Shine, was convicted and sentenced to 10 years in prison, and his contract with Bad Boy was terminated that year. But Shine signed a new deal with Def Jam Records while incarcerated for $3 million and released his sophomore album, Godfather, Buried Alive, in 2004 from behind bars. Years later, Diddy's former bodyguard accused him of snitching on his 21-year-old artist instead of taking accountability.
Whoa. Obviously, he was the Uber star, and I was just up and coming. So, yeah, it's going to be a show. But he used that to just, just threw me off. Like, it was terrible, man. It's not a matter of, turning your back on me. Like, how do you call a witness to testify against your comrade? If I'm telling you that she's lying and you saying, hey, well, she helping me. But I'm facing 25 years and you looking at probation. Yeah, those are the things that you understand are unacceptable. You don't have to hold my hand. You don't have to do nothing, but don't try to hurt me. This woman was the most damaging witness of any witness. She was worse than the prosecution's witness, which destroyed me because the prosecution is saying I'm this belligerent, reckless, okay, corralled fella, and then my co-defendant is saying the same thing. That was it. That was it.
Upon Shine's release in 2009, he was deported back to his home country of Belize. In 2020, Shine was elected as the leader of the opposition at the House of Representatives in his country, Belize, and says he's since forgiven his former boss.
You know what happened with Diddy, with Brother Love? I don't really blame that on him now, as much as I did then, because I did go through a stage of bitterness.
You're human.
But in retrospect, I blame it more on the lawyers that were advising him
to separate the case
than him. Because his lawyers were there, to secure a not guilty verdict by any means. He's a corporation, $100 million corporation. And, they look at me as the enemy. Now, this is how many years ago? This is 20-something years ago.
20-something years.
So Puff is still young, relatively.
What is it, 1999?
1999, okay. 2000.
Damn.
So he's much younger then. And, it's a lot of pressure. He's about to lose everything. I'm about to lose everything. Right. I'm from that, though. Right? Diddy is a musician. He's a great musician, great executive, great entertainer. But he wasn't from that.
Right.
So his response shouldn't be expected to be my response. And then when your lawyers and maybe other people are misleading you and misguiding you, I think that's how everything, fell apart. And he said that to me.
Right, it's beautiful.
He said, man, I'm sorry, man. I should have never listened to those lawyers.
That's real.
And, I forgave him.
That's real.
But, it was traumatic.
Yeah, still
so
staying.
I will forgive him, and then, you might hear me a few months later,
still staying.
going in on him.
Yeah.
They all did that, though.
Y'all get ready to put y'all up on something, man.
Black Rob was another bad boy artist ousted by Diddy and the label when he was dealing with his own legal issues.
Whoa, brothers getting money in VA years. Honey's looking back.
They removed him from their website and, in his words, left him for dead.
Bad Boy as a label that I was under at that time didn't do nothing to keep my name alive. You know what I'm saying? It took me off the website. Just left me for dead.
Damn.
In 2001, after being acquitted, Diddy settled a lawsuit with a woman who was hurt in a stampede at a 1991 charity basketball game he promoted. Even with all the hit songs Bad Boy released, issues between the artist and the label just persisted. In 2002, R&B group 112 attempted to part ways with Diddy and the label, saying that Diddy failed to compensate them and promote their music, and went on to say he owned 100% of their publishings.
Damn.
In an interview with MTV, 112 members Darren and Mike said, "We were a priority at certain times, but when you're dealing with a label where the CEO is trying to be an artist also, it just leaves the question mark to where the focus is. If you put yourself in a situation where you have your own label and one day you decide to be an artist yourself, where would you spend your marketing and promotion dollars?" It has been frustrating over the years trying to deal with that. We were 16 years old when we signed those contracts. We were naive. We're not blaming anybody for what we did. But the way it was presented to us was like we were family, that it was all about love. But being adults now and being more mature and knowing the business now, we would have never signed. But at the time, we were hungry. We were desperate. We needed whatever we could get to be out there to sing to the world, to be artists. That's why the whole family thing was such a contradiction. If you're such a family, you would have just taken care of us regardless of the structure of the contracts. If I'm a man and I'm worth over $100 million and I got this group and they signed an agreement that's structured in a way that they can't make money, me personally, if I was the head of Bad Boy Family, I would have said, okay, let me break these guys off a little something, end quote. But Diddy's spokesperson said they actually had a traditional co-publishing deal for which they were paid substantial advances commensurate with the then prevailing market rate. 112 signed a new recording deal with the Island of Def Jam music group. But Diddy filed a temporary restraining order with the Manhattan Supreme Court to block the group's departure and also prevented the group from recording new music until an agreement was reached. Faith Evans also decided to cut ties with the label after they failed to push her critically acclaimed 2001 album, Faithfully. She said, "The easiest way to put it is, Puff had a lot going on. He still does. I think it's a beautiful thing. He's like a conglomerate now. But there was such a change in circumstance from the time I signed. I can't say I was able to fully benefit from the hype and popularity and success of Bad Boy. It certainly set me up well, and I did achieve success." The domino effect didn't end there. Rapper Loon had made appearances on I Need a Girl Part 1 and its sequel before officially signing a deal with Bad Boy Entertainment.
Now I wanna lay down and sip colada, swift and Prada. I'm smooth as Eric Estrada. I met a lot of women in my lifetime, but see, it's not a lot of women that got the right mind.
His self-titled debut album was released in 2003 and peaked at number 6 on Billboard. But the singles were flops. He left the label only a year later.
And my relationship with Puff was, we had great fun personally. We got along swell. But then some of the hiccups would be when it comes down to like business. especially business that's already, you know what I'm saying, mandated and already affirmed that this is how it goes, then it shouldn't be a problem. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's just what happens in the business, but it never really tarnished my relationship with Puff. But like I said, I came into it for business. So when people try to like measure the capacity of our relationship, they try to look at it from the outside, like, yo, wasn't y'all cool or wasn't y'all this? Yeah, we was all those things, but we did business first.
Other artists who left Bad Boy in the 2000s include New Edition, G-Dep, and one of their most successful artists, R&B singer Carl Thomas. In the year 2000, the girl group named Dream became the label's first pop group. They reached #2 that year with their debut single, He Loves You Not, and their debut album sold over 1.5 million copies. But Bad Boy canceled all plans to release more singles by the group for whatever reason. Album #2, titled Reality, was finished and set to be released on August 12, 2003. But the date came and went, and the sophomore album was postponed multiple times by Bad Boy until Dream eventually got dropped by the label. That same year, Bad Boy Entertainment president and co-founder Kirk Burroughs filed a $25 million federal lawsuit against his former business partner Diddy, claiming that he forced him to relinquish his stake in Bad Boy by storming into his office swinging a baseball bat, demanding that he sign off on documents. Kirk also alleged that his former close friend and business partner is the real person who ordered the hit on rapper Tupac. Allegedly.
Okay.
Allegedly. But Diddy called the allegations pure fantasy. Furthermore, the National Labor Committee revealed that factories producing his Sean John clothing line in Honduras were violating Honduran labor laws. Workers were subjected to harsh work conditions and were forced to work overtime while being paid sweatshop wages. But I'll be making a deep dive video into the Sean John clothing empire, so stay tuned. After Biggie's death, rapper Mace became Puffy's new protege, and his popularity skyrocketed after his feature on the late rapper's chart-topping hit, Mo Money, More Problems. His debut single, Feel So Good, produced by D-Dot and Diddy, was a mega hit, reaching gold certification in just 1 month.
Until I can't get it up. I'm a big man, get this man room, I done hit everything from Cancun.
His singles, What You Want and Looking At Me, off his chart-topping debut album, Harlem World, were also top 10 hits.
Wanna get a legal gig. It's only right we spend our lonely night getting crazy, bitch. Tell me what you want, take a look at what is.
The album would eventually go quadruple platinum. Mace was also featured on hit songs by other artists like Mariah Carey's Honey, Brian McKnight's You Should Be Mine, Brandy's Top of the World, and Blackstreet and Maya's song Take Me There. In 1999, he released his second album, Double Up, which only reached number 11 in the United States, and the lead single, Get Ready, was a commercial failure, failing to even make it onto the Hot 100. The album and its single's commercial failure is largely due to the rapper's decision to turn his life over to God right before the release and refuse to perform any of the songs to promote the album. His new music had become very aggressive and a lot more explicit compared to his previous work, and he made the decision to retire from rapping and be a more positive role model.
First of all, I wouldn't say that this is a hasty decision, or the decision that I made was something that just came about out of frustration. You know, I told everyone before I started that I don't plan to be here for long. I plan to, use rap as a stepping stone. And I just wish people paid more attention to what I say than it would hit them as a surprise.
Mace took a 5-year hiatus from music and attended college. He made his musical return in 2004 with his top 5 album, Welcome Back. This time, he opted for a cleaner image.
See, I rep the most, I said I'm the most fly.
But the reviews from professional music critics were mixed or average. His single, Breathe, Stretch, Shake, and the title track still managed to have moderate success.
Stretch, shake, let it go. Breathe, stretch, shake, let it go.
Oh, to be a
But
kid
this
during
would be
that
his
time.
last studio release. Mace and Diddy's friendship started dissolving in the mid-2000s. He eventually left Bad Boy, but it wasn't an easy departure.
At all.
Mace attempted to join 50 Cent's G-Unit label, but Diddy blocked the deal by requesting $2 million to let him out of his contract. In 2009, Mace showed up at the radio station where Diddy was doing an interview to promote Dirty Money. He had Diddy sign papers that would temporarily release him from the contract with Bad Boy Records.
It took me 10 years to get this paperwork right here. I had to put this in UPS. I'm about to go out now. I don't even know what I'm going to put out now. Oh my goodness.
He said, I've been in this contract for 16 years. The other day he let me out of it. So big shout outs to Diddy. I guess he woke up feeling good and he wanted to do something good. You know how Puff is. I love him, but you gonna cut your arm off to get free.
Okay.
The pair still remained cordial for a while. But years later, there was one particular comment made by Diddy that triggered Mace.
And now because we are a family, I have to be honest. You know, for the last 2 days, I've been conflicted. You know, I'm being honored by the industry that I love, the family that I love. But there's an elephant in the room, and it's not just about the Grammys. There's discrimination and injustice everywhere at an all-time high. But there's something I need to say to the Grammys. And I changed my name my middle name to Love, so it's Sean Love Combs now. You don't have to call me a different name. It's an added-on name if you want to call me Love. So I say this with love to the Grammys, because you really need to know this. Every year, y'all be killing us, man. Man, I'm talking about the pain. I'm speaking for all the artists here, the producers, the executives. The amount of time that it takes to make these records, to pour your heart out into it, and you just want an even playing field. In the great words of Erykah Badu, we are artists and we are sensitive about our. We are passionate. For most of us, this is all we got. This is our only hope.
Mm-hmm.
Truth be told, hip-hop has never been respected by the Grammys. Black music has never been respected by the Grammys to the point that it should be.
Ooh, but the messenger,
right
Jesus.
now, this current situation, it's not a revelation. This thing been going on. And it's not just going on in music, it's going on in film, it's going on in sports, it's going on around the world. And for years, we've allowed institutions that have never had our best interests at heart to judge us. And that stops right now. I'm officially starting the clock. Y'all got 365 days to get this together. We need the artists to take back the control.
Oh, okay.
We need transparency. We need diversity. This is the room that has the power to make the change that needs to be made. They have to make the changes for us. They're a non-profit organization that is supposed to protect the welfare of the musical community. That's what it says on the mission statement.
Mace wrote a lengthy Instagram post calling him out on his hypocrisy and past business
everybody their publishing
practices.
back the next day.
He says he offered Diddy $2 million for his publishing rights, but Diddy declined the offer unless he could surpass the offer he had received from some European guy, and alleged that Diddy only paid him $20,000 over 2 decades, despite having sold over 8 million units worldwide. He wrote, "Your past business practices knowingly has continued purposely starved your artists and been extremely unfair to the very same artists that helped you obtain that Icon Award on the iconic Bad Boy label. For example, you still got my publishing from 24 years ago, in which you gave me $20K, which makes me never want to work with you as any artist wouldn't. You keep screaming black excellence and love, but I know love isn't free. So I offered you $2 million in cash just a few days ago to sell me back my publishing as his biggest artist alive. That always show you respect for giving me an opportunity at 19 years old. You bought it for $20K and I offered you $2 million in cash. That is not black excellence at all. In 2002, Diddy took over MTV's Making the Band, a reality series where him and his Bad Boy Entertainment team searched the country to construct music groups. Other seasons also chronicled the development of their new music acts. But viewers at home got to witness exactly how Bad Boy chew their artists up and spit them out. Across seasons, Diddy's hazing antics and making contestants do humiliating tasks made very good television. Like making the singers box each other, making contestants exercise so much during boot camp until they threw up, then turned around and yelled at them for it.
And some of you are going to be broken on your own. You're going to run 6 miles long.
6 miles. I've never run that far in my life. My right hip, it wasn't working like it should.
You want to stay, you better dance. If you can't dance, then
I feel so bad for two.
I do repeat, 5 miles. You fall.
Or that time he made his group walk miles and hours across New York in the freezing cold to buy him a slice of cheesecake. All to prove to Diddy how much they wanted to be signed to Bad Boy.
You could possibly, I'm starving too. You know something? I want me a piece of cheesecake. You know where to get the cheesecake spot at? Yeah. And y'all can walk from here, get the cheesecake, see the city, enjoy the sights, would you? It's not about me trying to do a mean-spirited initiation hazing act to them. It's a bigger picture to it. In the world of music, I gotta get up every day and do a bunch of things I don't want to do. I gotta bite my tongue and I gotta do it with a smile on my face. But I do want some cheesecake. Somebody gonna quit. Somebody ain't got the heart, the stamina to be bad with. Somebody ain't got the passion, the drive, the intensity to want it. Somebody's mental capacity breaks at a certain point. I need to see it now. I want to see it when I'm 2 million in. There's things in life that ain't gonna be fair. This is one of them. Oh, hey, what's poppin'? What's going on? We want to talk to you for a minute, like on the real. Yeah, man, ain't even on the real. I mean, if y'all don't want to go, y'all go home. Y'all go home right now. Whoever don't want to go, go home. Okay, y'all go home. That's what's up. That's what's up. All right. It ain't no more discussion. Stick with y'all group. It's all good. I appreciate that. Y'all gotta find a deal somewhere else. Come on. It's that simple. This thing gonna be easy. This right here is the way I run my. I'm gonna be up in here making hits. I'm here. Ain't gonna stop. This y'all decision on your lives. If y'all bucking on this little right here, I definitely don't want to with y'all.
Niggas want this man, but we was just on the tip like you was trying to put us out there like a bitch or something, like make us walk all the way to Brooklyn, like, you know what I'm saying?
I don't really care how you took it or whatever went through your mind was a mission that had to be done. All this psychological, that's ego. So the ego's in your way. So the ego made the decision. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing some cheesecake. You got that much ego? Go do your thing, man. Don't sit here and be talking about it, man. Be fly about it. Get your swag on, walk that way. That way, do it. If you want to think about it, or if you ain't going to walk that way, walk to Brooklyn and be happy about it.
He also had another reality show titled I Want to Work for Diddy, where he made contestants do similar activities. In his first iteration, Making the Band 2, Diddy formed a co-ed hip-hop ensemble named The Band. Their debut album, Too Hot for TV, peaked at number 2, and they toured the States to promote the record. But the band was plagued with so much drama and physical altercations that Diddy had to make the decision to dissolve the group.
I think that overall, the band has set a bad example, man, for all the young kids that look at hip-hop and think that this is what it's about. No matter how many times I try to give y'all chances, try to deal with it, it's either you got it or you don't. It's either you want it or you don't. In 2 years for y'all to take advantage of this opportunity. The opportunity wasn't taken advantage of. But at the end of the day, it's not about y'all individually. It's about the band. So now is when life begins. Because now the cameras ain't going to be on y'all no more. This is the last episode. This is the truth of the matter. The decision is that the band is dismantled.
I personally do not blame him in this situation. But he did continue to work with 3 members, Choppa, Babs, and Ness. None of them were able to find solo success with Bad Boy, and eventually parted ways with the label. Years later, when clips started going viral, former group member Freddie blasted Diddy for the emotional distress and humiliation he and his former group mates faced while on the reality show. He captioned the post, "God knows if I was Diddy, I would have done way more for these kids. Any real ninja would have. You start out just chasing a dream, then it quickly gets snatched away. Made me never want to rap. God's gonna have the last laugh. My talent was given to me to touch hearts and homes, and it was silenced. You silenced God's plans. Everyone who ever took part will depart horribly from earth." In the 3rd iteration, the girl group Danity Kane was formed with the lineup consisting of Aubrey, Dawn, Shannon, Juanita D. Woods, and Andrea. They were the most successful group to come from the show, having released 2 top 10 singles and 2 chart-topping albums. They headlined 2 tours and were also the supporting act on tours for the Black Eyed Peas, Backstreet Boys, and Christina Aguilera. But throughout their 3 years as a group, Danity Kane was the subject of rumors on their fan sites and blogs. Dawn had secretly been recording solo music with Diddy behind her group mates' backs, and some of the other girls were also rumored to be working on outside projects. Diddy also had many disputes with Aubrey over her image and personal style, and called Aubrey one of the worst dancers in the group.
Aubrey, let me talk to you. Stay for a second. And I ain't gonna let you put my money.
So tell me how you feel.
That's how I feel. I feel like some of your actions, some of your decisions, some of your choices affect the group.
Like
whether it's you decide to turn your eyes green or you decide to get a weave, or you got to get that approved on how it's going to affect the rest of the group. The stuff that I seen of you in the press over the last couple of months, I don't think it was beneficial for the group.
But stuff that the press says has nothing to do with me. I have no control over what they say about me.
Some of the hairstyles that I've seen, y'all look overly glamorous, like where it's just a lot of hair. It's a lot of fake hair, a lot of fake eyelashes, a lot of makeup. And we'll get to you in a second with that, Aubrey. But,
horrible.
The reason why I wanted you to be in the group was because you had this natural hometown girl type of vibe, you know? And I've seen more hair on you than even, like, I didn't even know they sold this much hair.
He was so trash.
You got such a big mouth when I'm going. What you got to say? Say it now.
In 2008, at the height of their fame, he fired Aubrey and D. Woods on the season 3 finale after an intense group meeting, leaving fans devastated. The remaining 3 members continued to do promotional engagements until Diddy gave Andrea the boot and just dropped Danity Kane as a whole from the label to add to the long list of music acts ripped apart by Diddy. In making the band's 4th iteration, Diddy began his search for Bad Boy's next male R&B group. The group named Day 26 was comprised of 5 males consisting of Robert, Willie, Mike, Q, and Brian. One of the contestants named Donnie Klang was also awarded his own solo contract by Diddy, and making the band 4 focused on the development of both acts. Day 26 released their self-titled debut album in 2008, which reached #1 on the Billboard 200. The singles were flops, but Day 26 was still doing pretty well for themselves and went on tour with Danity Kane. Then they began working on their 2nd album, and that's when all of the conflict started. The guys often had fights with each other and disputes. Particularly, Q had multiple disagreements with the group's new manager and other members of the group, which led to him being dropped from Day 26. By the end of 2009, they had been dropped by Bad Boy, marking the end of their mainstream career. Another instance where I can't really blame Diddy.
No. Okay, hold on.
Playing, on the other hand, Diddy.
So Day 26 did not get dropped from Bad Boy. Bad Boy moved from Atlantic to Interscope in 2009, and I think Day 26 chose to stay with Atlantic. They didn't want to move to Interscope in that little merger that took place. They didn't actually get dropped.
Really have much success as a solo artist. His album didn't live up to the expectations of the label and completely flopped. Mostly due to Bad Boy not promoting his music and focusing most of their attention on Day 26 and Danity Kane. Donnie grew frustrated with Diddy, who was busy promoting his own hits that year and working on his next solo album. So Donnie decided to leave the label, and that was pretty much the end of his music career. He said, I kept reaching out to him, but he was so busy with his radio promo tours and getting ready to release his album and everything that it was so hard to have a business conversation. Puff is the kind of person that when his mind is set on something, he's focused 100% with his eyes on the prize. So it's hard to have a kind of sidebar conversation with him. So basically, it was just lawyers back and forth trying to handle the situation, negotiating different things, etc. That whole part of it, I try to stay out of because I want to stay positive and creative, and I didn't want to get caught up in the percentages and business drama. End quote.
The final leg.
By the mid to late 2000s, Bad Boy had seen a significant decline in popularity, and the domino effect of artists disappearing after releasing hit songs just continued. The label had gone from being the home of New York talent to now housing Atlanta-based talent during the height of the Dirty South takeover. Diddy signed Atlanta rapper Young Jock to a multi-million-dollar deal with Bad Boy Entertainment, and not too long after, his debut single, It's Going Down, became a hit. His second single, I Know You See It, also became a hit. And by the end of the year, his debut album was certified platinum. Jock was also featured on the songs Showstopper by Danity Kane and Get Like Me by David Banner and Chris Brown. But his 2007 sophomore album failed to repeat the same success, an issue majority of Diddy's artists faced. In 2009, Jock told Billboard.com that he was looking to file a lawsuit against Bad Boy Records and Block Entertainment for failure to pay royalties and advances for his first two albums and charging outrageous clearance fees for his collaborations with other artists. He said, I haven't been paid any royalties since I've been out, after over 1 million albums sold. For my first album, they gave me a $25,000 advance when I was supposed to get more. Then I had $1 million budget for my second album. Never even got an advance off of it. For the third one, they hit me with another $25,000, like I'm some chump, and I just got tired of it, end quote. We never heard anything else about the situation, and Jock pretty much didn't have a mainstream rap career after that. In 2004, B.I.G became the newest R&B boy group of Bad Boy. Diddy executive produced their 2005 debut album and recruited some of the best songwriters in R&B to work on music with the teenagers. B.I.G's music wasn't necessarily Billboard chart hits, but they were pretty popular tween stars. Their songs All I Do and You Got Me were radio Disney hits, and fans made sure to vote for their videos every day on BET's 106 & Park. They even recorded a song for Disney's High School Musical soundtrack and toured with Bow Wow and Omarion on the Scream Tour. But by their second album in 2007, this may be a shocker to you guys, B.I.G's popularity had declined so much that they disappeared into obscurity. They later revealed that Diddy has never paid them royalties for their music. The group's youngest member, Brian Breeding, wrote, We made about 99.9% of all of our income from live performances and merchandise. Until this day, I've never seen a penny from any of our B5 commercial albums.
But did they write
for years,
any of the
we
music?
reached out to lawyers, advisors, and even TV networks for a chance to help us or tell our story, and no one ever touched it with a 10-foot pole. So here I am, telling my story, my truth, and not from a woe is me perspective, but as an example for the next generation of young artists to write and own your content. read your contracts, and create new sounds for the love of music as an expression of who you are. You don't need to compromise for the bag or the glamorized record label deal. We have enough artists like that and doing a great job at it." End quote. Then we have Cassie.
Oh gosh.
Although Bad Boy saw sales decline in the mid to late 2000s, there was one artist that improved their disappointing sales. Singer Cassie. She was a teen model when she recorded her song Me and You with songwriter and record producer Ryan Leslie. The song had a lot of buzz in European nightclubs. Diddy ended up hearing it playing in the club and partnered with Ryan Leslie's Next Selection imprint to release her music commercially. Me and You became a top 5 hit in America in 2006, while also being a hit overseas. Her debut album, released later in the year, sold about 100,000 copies in its first week and stayed in the top 20 on Billboard for 2 weeks. But her music failed to make a lasting impact. Me and You would be Cassie's last Billboard hit. She dropped a lot of buzz singles after that, but never released another studio album, as her sophomore album just kept getting delayed. Her and Diddy also had began a decade-long relationship, and you would think dating the owner of the label would give her an advantage. Her music career took a major hit once people realized that she wasn't that great of a singer.
You've been waiting so long, I'm here to answer your call.
Take it to the bridge.
And I'm almost certain Diddy didn't give Cassie the kind of flack for her singing as he did for the participants of making the band.
Yo, if you want to stay, you better do that again, and you better start moving. You better start feeling the music.
I have a full video on Cassie's music career, so make sure you guys check it out.
I'm at the
end of the decade, Diddy joined forces with former Danity Kane member Don and singer-songwriter Kalina Harper to form the music group Dirty Money. Their hit songs Hello, Good Morning, featuring Nicki Minaj, and Coming Home helped put Bad Boy back on the map in the early 2010s. But things got quiet for the label after that. There are less than 5 artists currently signed to Bad Boy Entertainment, and only 3 of them have released music in the last 5 years. That small list includes Janelle Monáe, French Montana, and Machine Gun Kelly. Back in 2012, MGK complained about his deal with the label, saying, "My deal is for like $1.5 million. I haven't seen 1/16 of that. I don't even understand what my deal means." There are quite a few former artists of Bad Boy that I didn't mention in this video because artists part ways with record labels all the time for various reasons. Record deals aren't always going to work out between the talent and the label, and that doesn't necessarily mean that they left on bad terms or that they were victims of the Bad Boy curse. But a good amount of the singers and rappers from one of the most popular hip-hop labels eventually disappeared into obscurity, faced financial issues, became religious figures, or were incarcerated after leaving the label. In Black Rob's final years, he experienced homelessness and couldn't even afford medical expenses. He died a few weeks later. Craig Mack disappeared from rap, then re-emerged in 2012, a part of an alleged cult, before passing away in 2018 from health issues. Rapper Loon converted to Islam while incarcerated. And I already told you guys about Mace and Shine. Pam of the R&B group Total had to work at the fast food chain White Castle to make ends meet while living with her mother. Why did so many artists from the most popular record label in hip-hop history end up in such depressing situations at the hands of the same man who's a loud advocate for Black entrepreneurs and artists? But was this his plan all along? Did Diddy intentionally use the success of his artists as a step stool to become one of the highest earning rap moguls with a net worth almost nearing $1 billion?
Yeah.
Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Like this video and subscribe to BFTV.
So that was a good one. I think I watched either Honest. Yeah, it was Honest. It was a shorter Bad Boy Curse video not so long ago where I said, you know, I didn't know if the curse was real or not. And I think to clarify that now after watching this one and seeing it more in depth, it is real depending on how you deal deal with him, or how they dealt with him within their deals. But then also I think about, you know, how society and social media plays an impact. Now, he was still ahead of his time. Anybody that worked with him speaks about how much of a marketing guru and genius and branding that he was. So he knew to kind of jump to the next thing. But, you know, in the the human aspect of it, he didn't always treat people correctly, and that's where it gets contrived and it was just fucked up. So this was really, really good. I love the BFTV documentaries as well. They're typically longer, that's why I don't always film them, but I know this one was one that you asked me for, Mikey, a while back, and I was like, I definitely want to sit down and watch it. So yeah, I think, you know, for real, yeah, it's a curse. It's crazy. It's very shady. He definitely wrote the backs of some incredibly talented people to get to where he is now. And he did a lot more harm than good. But he did do some good. There are some people that are still living and eating off of the things that they did. I think by the time he got to the making the band situation, he didn't always treat them fairly or take care of them financially like he was supposed to. But one thing I do know, at least from like looking at Dawn's situation, y'all know I love Dawn from Diddy-Dirty. He bought her for, I think, close to $1 million out of a contract so she could be in the group. And one of the reasons why she kind of remained even afterwards was because he had to make sure he got what he put in off of it. And she speaks about that candidly, you know, to this day, about her experiences being negative in some spaces, but then very positive. And then she got out of everything super free. He gave her publishing, everything. She was able to go. And she wrote for Danny Kane. She wrote for him. She wrote for Cassie. And naturally, she wrote for Dirty Money. So, you know, he does do good by some people. I think about Sherry Dennis that they showed at the end right there as well. She had a period of time where she was signed. She had been signed for years. And she was so inactive that she was getting ready to have to go find a regular job. She went to him and he issued, I think, a stipend or something. Like, she was just on payroll. She was getting a paycheck like bi-weekly or monthly or something like that. Because he didn't know what to do with her as an artist. But she was another dope one. She wrote, she produced, she danced, she did everything in the background. She had a BET episode about her that was really, really good. But then so many others, it was just tragic. They lost careers, livelihoods, their families got, you know, intertwined in it, and their lives just went different ways. And I hate to see that, but you know, they always say you get what you put out there, and I feel like it wouldn't have cost them nothing to make sure them people were straight. Outside of that, you know what I mean? Yeah, you gotta take a percentage of what you're doing because you put money into it. But like, to take everything in some of them instances is so crazy and shady. Like, you but then you preach it at the Grammys, we need to do better, and this, that, and third. If that was me, the next day, even if I didn't just give it to you, I would have given them an opportunity to buy their publishing or buy into their publishing or something, because that's how a lot of people eat. And some people worked hard on that. Some people went in the studio and wrote. They produced some of their own records. Like, one of the reasons we love Welcome to the Doghouse by Danny Kane is because they wrote on that project. That first album was good, but that second one, they wrote that shit. You know what I mean? Rappers write that shit. Most of them wrote his shit. So yeah, I understand why they're frustrated when they say, yo, years, decades of you owning shit that we did, and you probably was somewhere diddy-bopping in the club with a bottle of Deleon or Ciroc or some shit while we in the studio writing your shit. So I understand it, I really do, and I hate it. But yes, this is a very real thing. So make sure y'all read y'all's contracts if y'all going into business with anybody on any platform in any business or any setting. Just be careful, you know what I mean? Thankfully, I haven't signed many contracts in my life. You know, I take that back. I signed one not too long ago that I'm still side-eyeing myself about because of some of the agreements that I allowed to be placed in it. But, you know, naturally, sooner rather than later, I'll probably be out of that one. But the other aspect of it is make sure you read it cover to cover. Make sure you understand it. Highlight what you don't. Make sure you ask somebody from a legal background what it is. Even the things that you do understand, make sure you get clarity on those as well. Sometimes have different representations. Have two different lawyers look at it. Don't make sure they don't know each other. And if you're going into business with an entity or a person that is that or the third, make sure your lawyers don't know them. Because yeah, that's another aspect of it. You know, you think they don't know each other and don't know each other. These are tips and things that are out there for y'all to, you know, research. If you want to be an artist, you want to be a reality television star, you want to do any kind of business, you want to be very careful because this stuff right here is real and it's still happening. You know what I mean? How many people keep coming out with these things? I think it was Summer Walker that talked about her situation with Love Renaissance, where I think she makes with a dime per sale of her albums or something like that. It was just crazy. So y'all be careful. Allegedly. Yeah, allegedly. I don't know about that, but yeah, y'all be careful. Be very careful. Govern yourselves accordingly in this shady, very crazy world. Because to quote Diddy, as he said very eloquently on Bad Boy, don't get it twisted. If you don't do things the right way, what did he say? You'll get dark and lonely.
Don't get it twisted, man. It gets dark and lonely. It does, trust me.
For my Making the Band fans out there, y'all remember that? He was telling y'all even then what he was doing. But let me know your thoughts on this below. Comment, like, subscribe. Until next time.